Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Sunday morning Joe and Joe Weather Show. Hopefully, you got a good night's sleep and got to sleep in late this morning, but woke up just in time for our Sunday morning shenanigans. The Joe and Joe Weather Show brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York. And by the way, since we just went through Tropical Storm Elsa, which played out according to plan, this might be a good time to just sort of reevaluate what you have, just in case we do get another tropical system later on in the hurricane season, and take care of whatever it is you need to take care of: batteries, generator, pumps, etc., etc. Omni's got it all, and their phone number is 631-756-1125. They have the best prices in town. They're a local business on Long Island, and the website is omnitruevalue.com. Wholesale holiday lighting by Giannini. And just thinking about decorating for the holidays might make you feel a little cooler and less humid, because the weather's not going to do that. It's your complete holiday lighting specialist, meeting all your decorating needs at 162 Ocean Avenue in Lindenhurst, 631-957-5106. And the website there is liholidaylighting.com. And as I just said moments ago, Joe, Elsa played pretty much according to plan, all the way through. 2 to 4 inches of rain, some places a little bit higher, some convection that brought some 70 and 80 mile an hour wind gusts in Northern Ocean County, New Jersey, Friday morning, when they had a tornado warning that was up. And they had some, bursts there. But again, it was just pretty much driven by convection. Storm went along. There wasn't a whole lot of wind along the coast. There was less wind inland. And now things are nice. Actually, things are looking relatively quiet for the week going forward.
Well, I do want to say that I just got back from dropping my daughter off, her and her friend, flying down to Florida for a Disney vacation. And it was a little surprising to me that I actually needed to put the windshield wipers on intermittent. Yes, we do have a little bit of spotty precipitation out there right now. And I was a little surprised at that. I didn't anticipate we would see much of anything here until maybe later in the day, but apparently they're out. A little, here and there, a little bit of spotty shower activity. Kind of a quiet out there right now, Joe. A lot of clouds, not overly uncomfortable. Temperatures hovering in the upper 60s to around 70 locally here in the Hudson Valley. And you're right. It looks like it's going to be getting progressively hotter again as we progress into the upcoming week. We're already heading for the midpoint of July. Where's this summer going?
Well, to its ultimate end, hopefully. And by the way, here we are. It is now July 11th. I have still not hit 90 degrees a single time here in North Georgia. In fact, last week, I think there were only 2 days last week where the temperature actually broke above 80 for a high. Been dealing with clouds. We've been dealing with some showers and storms. I actually lost power overnight around 3:30 and didn't get it back until 8:30 this morning. For a while there, I was thinking maybe we'd have to push the show back to 7 o'clock, but not the case. The power came back, the internet came back, and hopefully it stays here. By the way, big thank you to Bill Fisher, who sent me and you a Fisher Forecast mug. And Bill has his own Facebook page on Facebook. It's Fisher's Forecast, okay? No apostrophe in the Facebook link. Fisher's Forecast, Fishers. And I had my morning coffee in my Fisher's Forecast weather mug. So thank you, Bill, for sending that along.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chaffee will be forwarding my cup from down in Georgia way, and it looks like a lovely mug.
It is
lovelier than my mug.
Our mug, yes, our mugs runneth over. So
yes.
So let's run a few things weather-wise as we take a look at the maps this morning. Seems like we're kind of being dominated here by two upper ridges, one on each coast, and the one in the southwest is raging another heat wave there. Although this one probably won't last as long as the last one did. But yesterday, Death Valley getting to 130, just set a record high for the day, and also fell short of the all-time uh, Earth record high of 134. So I don't know if they're going to do it
That's
today.
a record I don't think anybody wants to break. I think that's where in Libya somewhere they got like 134 degrees.
I think
the
so.
all-time for the
Yeah, there was some.
I don't think
there was some question about. If I recall, Joe, there was some question about they were not sure whether the thermometer was accurate or not when it recorded that temperature, as I recall. But 134 seems to be the target number, and the Death Valley didn't get there, nor did Furnace, California, which I always thought was one of the more apt names.
That's very appropriate name, right?
Yes, very exactly. So in the middle between those two ridges is a swirling low. There's an upper low that's cut off in the central plains.
Before you continue, Joe, before you continue, I do want to make one special announcement.
Yes.
And that is one of our longtime fans here on the chat board who's on this morning, Dennis Cassia. He and his lovely wife, Kim, celebrating their 13th wedding anniversary on this 11th day of July. We want to wish Dennis and Kim a very, very happy happy anniversary. I'm not allowed, I guess, because of copyright issues, to play the famous Flintstones Happy Anniversary song now. But let us say that we all wish Dennis and Kim a very happy anniversary today.
Yes, happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary.
Yeah, be careful.
Happy anniversary.
Exactly. Okay. Is there an echo going on? I see a few people talking about an echo on the chat board.
I don't hear the echo. I know last time that I was hearing the echo, you forgot to plug your earphones in or something.
Yeah, no, they're plugged in. So if there was one, hopefully it's gone. Meanwhile, that low spinning away in the central plains, that's where all the severe weather action is going to be today, mainly south of there across the central Gulf states back into the southwest. There's also a warm front that's to our south. That's part of the problem today here, Joe, in the Northeast. We have this warm front to the south, a little bit of an onshore flow, and the high that sort of built in behind Elsa just wasn't much of a high. So we've got these clouds, but the severe weather risk today is actually to the west of us from Pennsylvania on westward and southward down the Appalachians, and then it kind of swings west across the central Gulf states through Texas and into New Mexico and even into western Arizona. And you can see there's blow-ups going on down there, or at least there were overnight, sinking down through that part of the country. There's an upper low off the Florida coast east of the Bahamas, but that's a cold upper air system, and it doesn't look like anything is going to develop down to the surface. So we're not going to pay too much attention to that. In the meantime, with the northern part of the jet stream kind of temporarily cut off, if you're looking for lower humidity, you might have to wait until next week to get it.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to be pretty much all heated up this week. And actually, I did catch a view of some of the forecasts here in the tri-state, the New York City area. And I said to myself, they seem to be a little bit conservative. I actually would have gone a few degrees higher in some cases. I think at least one day this week, New York Central Park will be in the low to mid 90s. And with Newark, who knows what Newark is going to be, considering they hit 102 or over 100 degrees twice last week. But it does look like a rather hot and eventually rather uncomfortable week coming up. And I agree with you, Joe. The upper level breezes are not going to allow for at least a drier northwesterly airflow to invade the Northeast for at least several days or more. So grin and bear it. It looks like this is what July is going to be all about.
Pretty much. Well, here's the radar this morning, and as you said, there are some scattered showers. Actually, a couple of thunderstorms have now popped up in eastern Pennsylvania, moving into looks like Hunterdon County in New Jersey, and also another couple of cells down in southeastern PA. Most of the scattered stuff that you saw this morning, that's now in eastern Connecticut, southeastern Rhode Island, and there's some a bit more widespread shower activity as you head up toward the New York State PA line in southern New York, going back into western New York, and continuing on across into southeastern Michigan, and then some heavy downpours this morning in central Ohio down into central Tennessee. A few showers in eastern North Carolina, a few showers down in southern Georgia. Doesn't look like there's a couple of sprinkles out to my west. I had a loud thunderstorm here yesterday evening. Had a couple of thunderstorms actually, and knocked my power out for a little while, as I mentioned earlier. There's an east-west band of storms from southern Mississippi across central Louisiana and in through eastern and central Texas. This is where we've got severe weather risks going on for later on today. Nothing much happening in the southwest, and nothing much happening in the northwest. The Storm Prediction Center's got their marginal risk covering almost all of Pennsylvania, West Virginia, southeastern half of Ohio, the eastern half of Kentucky, westernmost Virginia, extreme western North Carolina, northwestern Georgia, northern and western Alabama, across Mississippi. You can see where the slight risks are, and also a big area of slight risk in West Texas and parts of West Texas, and a good chunk of the state of New Mexico and southeastern Arizona. So that's for today. Now, tomorrow, we've got the warm front, I think, is going to probably be to our north or close enough to our north and that invites a marginal risk of severe weather. That front's going to kind of go back and forth for a couple of days. So we've got a marginal risk of severe weather for the northern half of New Jersey, most of PA except south central and southeast, southern New York, Long Island, Connecticut, Rhode Island, the lower, middle, and upper Hudson Valley, and also a small area of marginal risk down in southern Arizona, with a larger area of general thunderstorms, which is what you would expect this time of year. And then come on Tuesday into Wednesday, marginal risk in western New York, northwestern PA, northern Ohio, the state of Nebraska, and southernmost South Dakota. So after today, we're not seeing, at least for now, not seeing slight risks or enhanced risks for the next couple of days. So that's at least a plus. I'm not so sure about tomorrow. That's kind of tricky as far as whether we'll stay at a marginal risk or whether we're going to nudge it up to a slight risk in a few places.
Yeah, the area of marginal risk is certainly within striking distance on today's day one map, with a striking distance of the tri-state area. But as you just mentioned, Joe, after we get past tomorrow, doesn't seem like we're going to be in line for any kind of severe or strong to severe weather here for a few days, and that's nice. Certainly, after what we went through with the thunderstorms on Thursday and the passage of Elsa on Friday, we certainly don't need any more heavy duty or excessive rainfall or strong to severe weather as we saw again on Thursday and into Friday. You remember also, Joe, we were talking on Thursday. I think you were the one who brought it up about questioning whether or not there might be any kind of watches that would go into effect in the overnight hours ahead of Elsa, Thursday night into Friday morning. And sure enough, we had that tornado warning that came up in the wee hours of the morning across portions of northern and central Jersey. I don't know if they did put up a watch for any part of our immediate area for Thursday night, but certainly it was warranted considering all the active weather that occurred as Elsa was passing on by early on Friday.
Yeah, the chairman just hit super chat, and thank you, Scott, for informing us that Death Valley on July 10th, 1913, recorded the official all-time world high temperature record of 134, and that record,
Now it was Death Valley.
yeah,
I thought
and
it was. I
no, the record in
yeah.
Libya was disputed and not accepted. I remember
Oh,
reading about
okay.
that.
Oh well.
They just, yeah,
Sorry, sorry, Libyans.
yes, something about the thermometer. WPC in terms of rainfall. Now, a lot of this is convectively driven, so there's going to be a lot of variables here over this coming week. And I kind of think this is the sort of week where every day there's going to probably be the chance for some storms running around somewhere. But they've got us, generally in an area of about 3/4 of an inch to an inch along the immediate coast. The inland areas are higher with fairly large swath of an inch and a half, and you could see those big rain amounts in upstate New York of 3 to as much as 5 inches. Also in north central and northwestern PA, northeastern Ohio, and then it's sort of patchy around through the Ohio and Tennessee Valley, down into the Gulf states, on up through the upper Mississippi Valley and western lakes. Also, Joe, big rains being forecast this week in Arizona. So, the monsoon is probably going to get underway. There's also some kind of upper low that's sitting off in over Baja. But you go back to the satellite, you can kind of there's all sorts of moisture there that's coming up out of Mexico and kind of streaming northwestward. So that's probably the reason why we're seeing WPC, among other reasons, why WPC has got some big rainfall amounts in Arizona and in western New Mexico.
Yeah, if you remember when we were talking about the monsoons a few weeks ago, there was a lot of speculation as to whether or not it would be an active season, whether or not it would be lesser than normal. Well, based upon what we're seeing right now, certainly I don't know whether or not this is a temporary splurge, but if you live in and around Arizona, you better have your umbrella because those monsoons can be quite heavy for a very short interval of time.
Oh, for sure. And I'm not familiar with the terrain, having been in Phoenix for a very short period of time. Um, but I've never been into the eastern part of the state. But I imagine between the with the elevation and everything else, I know it's the I know when it rains out there, sometimes you can get flash flooding with a half an inch of rain because the ground is like absolute concrete, so the water just runs off.
Well, the thing is also out there, Arizona, New Mexico. I was in Utah for a while on two occasions, and they don't refer to them necessarily as thunderstorms. They sometimes just call them electrical storms because in some cases you get a lot of lightning and not much in the way of rain, and sometimes that lightning will trigger, um, you know, activity in terms of fires, and they can be. If you've ever been out there and I do remember in one case in Utah, no precipitation, but it was a dramatic, amazing lightning display that I was watching, and it really wasn't overhead; it was off on the horizon. Sometimes we talk about, here you see off on the horizon some lightning, but it doesn't appear. You don't see the bolts actually. You actually just see the sky flickering. But you can actually see bolts, and because the air is so clear, and it is quite spectacular. So, if you're ever out in the desert Southwest at this time of the year, even though the forecast may be suggesting, rain or thunderstorm activity, you'll still be treated to quite a show. It can be quite dramatic. And as we have just noted, that the activity is certainly unusual right now or anomalously high. I don't know whether or not this is going to carry over into August, but they certainly could use some of the moisture. I have a couple of friends out in Arizona, and when it rained about a week or so ago, they actually said they were rejoicing because it was the first time they had seen rain out there in a very, very long time.
Meanwhile, I don't know why the Hurricane Center mentioned this yesterday. I saw a few people this morning on the Discord chat, which talking about the area. I brought up the North Atlantic satellite here, and I really haven't been following it along. I noticed the rain was still over in eastern Maine yesterday in the morning. But obviously, you've got a couple of low pressures that have developed there. The Hurricane Center last night actually mentioned they had a little X. I don't know why they mentioned it. They had a little X southeast of Newfoundland, and then they said that there was a 0 chance of development. And then on the next outlook, it's not even mentioned at all. So maybe a couple of people, asked about it, and they figured they just throw it in on one outlook. But nothing's going to come out of this. Looks like there's a fairly deep cyclone south of Greenland there. I also noticed, Joe, that there was some snow up in Greenland, so it's always snowing somewhere. Let it be in Greenland.
Well, it's not. It's too late to get my 1.44 inches to get to 40 inches at Central Park.
Right. No, that's not happening. Okay, so let's.
I might also,
go ahead.
As we're speaking right now, I just brought it up on my computer screen that the Virgin Atlantic flight,
yes,
is in progress, and I'm looking at some incredible pictures here, television pictures of the people inside. They're looking out the window, and I mean, right now it's they're at an altitude of 46,380 feet, and I don't know how long they've been up in space. Is this? They're getting ready to land, I guess, because I can see the countdown clock is counting down. So they're descending right now. So I guess they went up to the altitude that they wanted to go, and now they're coming back down to Earth. So another step forward to private entrepreneurs, being able to go into space and not relying on NASA.
What time
anymore.
did they launch this morning?
I think they launched fairly about maybe 10:30 Eastern time, and now it's actually coming. And it doesn't look like a rock. I mean, it looks like a jet plane, really. So I don't really know what you would call this, but apparently they went up to the fringe of outer space with this thing, and the one that's going to go off on July 20th, I think that's Elon Musk's flight. That's actually going to look like a rocket or a giant-sized firecracker, as Bugs Bunny might say. But this thing looks like an aircraft, and it's now descending, and they're going to be, I guess, they're going to be back on the ground in a minute and 10 seconds. They're descending in altitude here, so
I am
interesting.
I'm waiting for them to design the Jupiter 2. That's what I'm waiting for. Get me the Jupiter 2. They have one ship that just lands and takes off, and no rockets flying all over the place. Just
well, maybe if we have a guy with deep pockets. I mean, right now, this Virgin Galactic space plane was put into the air by Richard Branson, who probably has more money than he knows what to do with. And I'll tell you what, if I had Branson's money or Elon Musk's money, maybe I would try to make a Jupiter 2 and have it fly.
Yeah. Well, Jeff Bezos is next, so he's going up in 2 weeks. From
Jeff Bezos, that's right. Not Elon Musk. I'm sorry.
Founder and
I didn't realize all of these multi-zillionaires out there with ideas of doing this sort of thing.
These are innovative people. They are about ideas, and not all of those ideas succeed, but every once in a while one succeeds in a big way. And Elon Musk with Tesla, well, obviously Jeff Bezos with Amazon. He took what was originally just a website to buy books and turned it into a trillion plus company. And Tesla's not that far behind either in terms of market capitalization. So it takes innovative people who are willing to take chances, and they certainly are.
Yep.
Innovative.
Indeed.
All right. The weather for the week ahead, honestly, really doesn't look all that eventful. Again, other than whatever thunderstorms might be running around. And that, of course, that's always a variable. Sometimes, these storms can fire up in a big way. And sometimes they can do it even if SPC doesn't put you in a risk for severe weather. But you'll see that low there. That's in southern Illinois. We have based on the surface map this morning, there's the old frontal boundary that moved on through, stalled out, now waiting for a warm front to move northward, which is why we're dealing with a bit of an onshore flow and these clouds around. And the front itself is going to trigger off maybe a couple of scattered showers or storms. We've already seen some scattered showers. We're seeing some scattered storms on the radar. Then for tomorrow, the warm front lies to our north. I'm not showing you the radar view. I'm showing you the precip view. And you got to be careful with this because sometimes the precip view, it shows precip, and then you look at the radar view and there's nothing there. So you got to be a little bit careful. But tomorrow, it looks like the warm front is going to be this is for Monday afternoon, looks like, just off the isobars, very close to New York City or just north of New York City or just south. So that's going to make a difference in terms of what kind of a day it's going to turn out to be. And then it drops back southward because the high builds up in New Brunswick for Tuesday. So Tuesday is going to be one of those days, Joe, where if you're north and east, I was looking at the temperature forecast profile for Tuesday. I mean, it looks like north and east of New York City, it may not get out of the 70s because of that high to the north, but just south and west of there, you go to Philadelphia, southern New Jersey, southern Pennsylvania, and point south, temperatures are going to be in the low 90s. So that kind of sets up a bit of a battleground zone, which is why I think SPC, has a severe weather risk the way they do. And then as we move on through the rest of the week, the flow is going to be mostly southwest, very warm, very humid. Then it turns hot and humid. Thursday and Friday to me look like the two hottest days, where we could see highs up at least into the low and mid 90s. And then next weekend, we've got a cold front that's going to try to make an approach on Saturday, and it may have to wait until late Sunday before it finally comes through here. And then after that, maybe we can get a little lucky here. It looks like the flow from Canada reemerges, and we get higher pressures and maybe some lower humidity for at least a few days a week from now. That actually looks pretty decent if this verifies.
If I could back up just a bit to Tuesday, and again, I've said that, the two of us, we're merely general practitioners. We are not experts in varying, divisions here in terms of hurricanes or long-range forecasting. But I do want to question the Tuesday severe thunderstorm outlook put out by the Storm Prediction Center. They have marginal risk confined mostly on Tuesday to western and central New York, northwestern Pennsylvania, the eastern Great Lakes. And I'm wondering, Joe, with that front draped or stretched out either just over us or maybe just to our south, I'm wondering why they didn't have the marginal area covering our area as well, because as you just mentioned, places to the north, up across New England, I mean, places like Boston, for example, and Bangor, Maine, and Concord, New Hampshire, may have a tough time getting much above 70 degrees on Tuesday.
Right.
Meanwhile, Philadelphia and South Jersey, Baltimore, Washington may very well be in the low and mid 90s. Meanwhile, and wherever that front happens to be, that boundary zone, and if it's pretty close to us, even if we're in the cool air, I think it would be worth just stretching that marginal risk across our area just to cover ourselves. And I have a sneaking suspicion that tomorrow and maybe even Tuesday, we will see marginal here forecast by the Storm Prediction Center. And also, they may even throw in closer to that frontal line, maybe across parts of Pennsylvania or Western New York, maybe slight risk of severe weather, because that is quite a difference in temperature between what's happening in New England versus what's happening across the mid-Atlantic states.
I agree with you. Tomorrow the warm front's going to be to our north, so that then you get a little wave that develops on it. So that might be the trigger for some storms tomorrow evening. So I think the marginal risk for Monday is justified. Tuesday, I agree. It's on there day 3, so it wouldn't be a huge surprise if we look at the forecast when it's updated later today or particularly tomorrow that they're going to be doing some adjusting in terms of where they think the severe weather will be. I agree with you on that.
And I might also point out that they have us in marginal on for tomorrow, as you just pointed out, on day 2. But I notice also that when I go from categorical to tornado, now if you remember, what we had on Thursday when we were in marginal, they actually had a tornado risk for us, which is kind of unusual. They are not suggesting that for tomorrow, which is the scenario, the setup, at least in the minds of the forecasters at Storm Prediction Center, is a bit different than what we had on Thursday. Now, I don't know whether or not part of the reason that they had us in a tornado threat with marginal risk on Thursday may have been that they were anticipating maybe something out ahead of Elsa, but they do not have. They do have us in a wind, 5% chance of damaging or severe winds. Nothing for hail,
Right.
but
The map is
and
up
that's
there.
also interesting.
Yeah.
And it's also interesting. I mean, a hail. You would think that maybe that considering that we saw lots of hail here on Thursday, that the
And
atmosphere
there
might
was
be
some
cooling
big
up
hail too.
top
There was some big hail too, by the way, in parts of New Jersey. Janet Dunn sent me the pictures of the hail that she had. She said it was about 2 inches in diameter, and there were other folks that I saw pictures on Twitter. Uh, looked like big ping pong balls.
Yeah, and in fact, my brother-in-law, uh, John, who lives on Long Island, uh, told us that he was getting hail. He said, I can't call it hail because unlike hail, which hits the ground and bounces, this stuff, which was, again, like Janet Dunn mentioned, pretty large. I mean, like maybe quarter size or maybe even golf ball size, ping pong size. He said it was coming down. It wasn't bouncing. It was splatting on the
Yeah,
ground like snow.
yeah,
You know,
or like grapple anyway. Um,
yeah.
all right, so the upper air, the ridges on both coasts in the southwest, which by the way, I did have the map for today in terms of the high temperatures there. Uh, Palm Springs looks like they're forecasting 115 for Palm Springs, and some temperatures as high that 119 I think is Lake Havasu City in Arizona. That's 119 for there, and there's a 130 print. I don't know if that's Death Valley that they have the 130 print for, but there's a 130 print there. We'll see. We'll see what Death Valley does today and whether they come close with respect to breaking the all-time record. But again, this heat wave's probably going to start to wane. And temperatures head back down close to normal because you can see the upper high on Tuesday is still pretty strong, and that just starts to slowly flatten out as we go to Wednesday and Thursday. And meanwhile, here in the east, the ridge off the east coast begins to flatten out a bit and build back westward across the Gulf states. And you can see the flow that's running across close to the Canadian border. Doesn't quite, the southern edge of that flow gets to about New York City, which is why we're dealing with these straddling fronts going back and forth. But eventually, as we move into the long range, and we go into the weekend and into next week, the flow from Canada becomes reestablished over New England, and this should be enough. If it winds up looking like this next Tuesday, where there's a wrapped up upper low in New Brunswick, that this will indeed bring down drier air into the Northeast, and as long as that trough doesn't pull out quickly, which it takes a couple of days to get out of the way, the dry air will be with us for maybe 2 or 3 days before the next upper trough starts to drop into the eastern part of the United States. And by the way, I'll just repeat what I've said a few times uh, uh, the last couple of weeks with respect to the overall long-term pattern. Uh, if these troughs continue to drop into the east, Elsa will not be the only system, the only tropical system that we'll have to deal with in the next couple of months.
No, of course not. The pattern may be set up so that we may see more storms that will be taking a track again along or adjacent to the eastern seaboard. So it could turn out to be a very interesting tropical season for us here in the eastern United States, assuming again that the pattern remains as is for another month or a couple of months. We'll
Yeah.
see.
All right. So JJ, who normally sleeps through the show, is actually kind of active here under my desk because he hasn't
Oh,
Park. And don't laugh because my old dog Cody uh, also figured out the spelling. So when I would spell Park, he would go crazy. So he gets his. My dog just to show you how smart he is. We go out first thing in the morning. I take him outside to do number one, and we walk right by my truck. He pays no attention to the truck and goes right by it. After we come in, I have my coffee. He has his breakfast. That's usually when we go to the PARK. So on the second walk out, when we walk out the door and we go to the truck, he stops right at the back door of the truck. And if like
because he
today,
knows.
right, if like today, because I couldn't take him this morning, I'm taking him after the show. I took him for a second walk locally here, but he knows. We got to the truck and he stopped and he would not budge. It took me about a minute to get him to move, so we could go down, take a walk over by the river. So, but he's starting to get antsy. Scott Briller has sent us a a cooking Briller Jeopardy for Mrs. Rayo. Is Mrs. Rayo all ready for this?
Um, as soon as this comes over, YouTube, because she's monitoring upstairs. Yes, she's here. She's all ready to go. All set and ready
Lord,
to go.
have mercy. All right.
Yes, I am now leaving the chair and giving her the headphones.
Oh gosh.
Yes, the world we
How
live
are
in.
you?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm just fine. I have to give a shout out to my daughter who is at 36,000 feet on a JetBlue flight to Orlando, Florida, and watching on YouTube. Yep, she's watching.
She's watching
but she
the show.
can't chat. She says she can't chat for some reason. She's using her phone. So yeah, she can't chat.
Oh, how cool is that?
But how cool is that? We complain about technology, but hey, technology is great.
Oh yeah. No doubt. No doubt about it. Technology, Joe. Technology. All right, I'm trying to load these questions here, so just give me a moment. There we go. And all right, so okay, so if you get 5 out of the 7 correct, you get to pick either any one of the 3 doors that Carol Merrill is standing in front of.
Okay.
So,
all right, sure.
And JJ's eating my hand in the meantime. Okay.
He's got to go.
Question 1: how would you cook tempura prawns? Would you deep fry them, shallow fry them, or cook them in the oven? Tempura prawns.
Prawns. I think they get fried, certainly. Tempura. I think they just put it in a fryer. So I would say deep fried.
No, it says you have to cook them in the oven.
It's a shallow fry. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Tempura?
Wait, hold on.
But that's bad.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. My mistake. I misread it. The answer is A, deep fry. Deep fry. So one correct for you. One obviously tired demerit for me. Question 2.
Okay.
What does it mean to sweat a food? And an example of this would be an onion. Is it A, to cook on high heat, B, to fry in large amounts of oil, or C, gently cook?
No, when you sweat vegetables, you gently cook them.
Okay,
yes.
That is correct. Question 3, which describes vegetables that are julienne? Okay, A, cut into long, thin strips, B, cut into small squares, or C, cut into circular shapes, or D, cut into thick wedges?
I would have to say A. Julienne is the nice thin long strips.
That is correct. All right, question 4. What is the name of the reaction that turns foods golden brown? Is it the Maillard reaction, the Caramel reaction, the Escoffer reaction, or the Mendel reaction?
Okay.
Or Maillard, Caramel, Escoffier, or Mendel?
I would say carrot. I have no idea. Joe is even going like this to me.
Yeah.
I would say the carrier.
No, it's the Maillard
What was that?
reaction.
Maillard reaction.
Yes.
Where did he get this question from?
I don't know. Never heard of it, actually. First thing that came to my mind as I was reading the question, I was thinking of caramelization, but that's a whole different
Yes,
thing.
and then right, that's exactly what I figured.
The caramel, yeah.
Anyway.
All right, question 5.
Win some, lose some.
Right. Question 5. Barding refers to A, stuffing a roast with cloves, B, wrapping meat in fat, C, tying a roast with twine, or D, stuffing a roast with vegetables? Barding, B-A-R-D-I-N-G.
This is another term I've never heard of, barding. Where does he get these questions? Jeez. Oh my God, give me a hint.
I would say, I don't know. It's eliminate the
Have
obvious.
you ever heard of this?
No, I've never. Eliminate the obvious one, and think of the number of times that you would do the other two, and that should leave you with the choice. Think about how little you do with the other times. The other choices.
Okay, quickly run down my choices again.
All right, stuffing a roast with cloves.
No.
Okay. Wrapping meat in fat, tying a roast with twine, or stuffing a roast with vegetables.
I'll just say tying up the meat with twine.
As I started to read the question, I would have gone with C, but the answer actually is B, wrapping meat in fat.
Fat.
Right.
Okay, that's something I would never do.
Well, the only time I've done it is if I got a roast that's a really lean cut of meat, like let's say if it's a pork tenderloin, or a beef tender, like a filet mignon. I've wrapped those. I've done it where I've wrapped them in bacon. I don't do that anymore with the pork tenderloin because I just cook it on a cast iron skillet. So I and I just cover it with a little bit of oil. So that would instead of wrapping it with bacon. Next question is, what is a gastric GASTRQUE? Gastric GASTRIQUE. Is it a fruit marinated in sugar and salt? B, a reduction of sugar and vinegar? C, a broth reduced until it's thick? Or D, pureed fruit?
I'll say B.
That's correct. The reduction of sugar and vinegar. And the final question is a bonus question. What year did the first McDonald's restaurant open up? 35, 45, 55, or 65? Oh, I'm sorry.
55.
Yeah, what year? Yeah. 35, 45, 55, or 65?
I think it's 55.
And you would be correct. The answer also, it was near Chicago that the first McDonald's opened up. So this was a tough one. But
it was.
You can choose door number. Which door would you like? 1, 2, or 3?
Oh, straight down the middle, number 2.
Number 2. So if you had chosen door number 1, you would have gotten 500 boxes of Kraft mac and cheese.
Oh, thank God.
Yes. And if you'd have chosen door number 3, you would have gotten 1,000 boxes of ramen noodles.
Oh, that's worse.
So instead, you get a 2-week vacation where you get to meet the top chefs of the world.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
Yes, it would.
I'll learn about all those cooking words and methods that I didn't know.
Well, by the way, yesterday, I was in the house all afternoon and I cooked. I went to the farmer's market yesterday morning here and I bought some beautiful yellow squash and zucchini, and I cut them the long
You
way.
didn't grow your own?
I actually have zucchini growing. I've only been able to get one zucchini out of it. I'm not sure, why, but so far it hasn't really produced very much for me. But the farmer's market here is great. There's a lot of farms here. They bring their stuff to market, and it's cheap, relatively cheap. So I brought the zucchini home and some fresh Georgia peaches. But with the zucchini, I made zucchini parm. Instead of using eggplant, I used the zucchini and the yellow squash. I cut them the long way, thin.
Right.
And then instead of frying them, because normally you would fry the eggplant, quick 1-minute fry on the eggplant in hot oil. Instead, to keep it a little lighter and make it less messy, I baked them in the oven at 400 degrees. I brushed egg on them, put a little bit of breadcrumbs. I baked them in the oven for about 25 minutes, and then I layered them in the pan, added some Parmigiano Reggiano cheese on each layer. I put my homemade sauce, which I had plenty of in the freezer. I heated it up, added a few extra peeled tomatoes, layered the sauce on it, and I got a tray. I got a 9x13 tray. I'll be eating it all week, which is wonderful. And I also made baked fried chicken with fried in quotes. So I had leg quarters.
Yeah, oven baked.
Yeah,
oven fried chicken. Oh,
yeah.
I do that often enough. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
So and that came out very good too. So I put.
In regards to the zucchini, if you slice it, the long way and like 1/4 inch thick, you can do it on the grill just with a little bit of oil, salt, pepper, and that comes out great too, and very, very quick.
Yeah. No, I've done that also, but this required putting it on the grill, and then when you get the grill burning on it and so on, and it doesn't translate well if you have to bake it into a zucchini, into a zucchini parm. Yeah. But anyway, good to see you as always.
Good to see you too, and have fun with JJ. Joe, you coming back? We'll do the quick switch and then you can say goodbye. And I'll say goodbye to everybody on the chat board and hello to my daughter up in the skies. Hello,
Maria. Glad you had a happy birthday back a few days ago.
The only reason my daughter would
enjoy your Disney trip.
The only reason why my daughter would tune in is just to see her mom. Not that she doesn't like me, but she wanted to watch her mother in action today. So
yes, what mother?
Mother.
Leon Probitsky hitting super chat. Thanks, Leon. Most appreciated as always. And thanks, Scott Briller, for sending us the cooking Jeopardy today. And hope your mom is doing well. Just want to mention really quick too. One of the regulars on the chat board, Mark G. Hasn't been here for the last couple of days. His dad passed away, and we extend our deepest sympathies and condolences to Mark and his family. And I saw people on the chat board mentioning it too. If you're part of the Discord chat, you can leave messages for him there. So again, our sympathies to Mark G and his family. All right, I gotta take the boy to the PARK ASAP. Or my life.
Can you point the camera at him just so that we could see him? Because we always see him. He's always like dead on the floor.
Well,
It'd be nice to see him like physically standing or wagging his tail. Or
well,
something,
he was before Renata came on, and there he is. He's awake. Are you ready to go to the PARK? Huh? You want to go to the park? You ready to go? He's got his harness on, so he knows we're going somewhere. Yep, he's ready to go. All right, folks.
Well, you guys have a good day, and we'll see you. Now, tomorrow night, we have to reschedule. It's not going to be 7:30 tomorrow night. I have a library talk at 7, so 8:30 tomorrow night for our nightly commentary on weather and everything else.
All right, so 8:30 tomorrow night, and we'll. Is that the only night this week, or do you have others this week?
No, I have one other, and that'll be on Wednesday. So Monday and Wednesday it'll be 8:30. Tuesday, Thursday, 7:30, and I guess we're off on Friday unless something cataclysmic happens.
Okay. All right. Very good. All right, folks. Enjoy your Sunday. Have a great afternoon, and we'll see you tomorrow at 8:30 Eastern Time. Thanks for the super chat hits from Leon and the chairman, Scott Briller. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Bye.